Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thanks for being here tonight. Welcome to the Plugged into Energy Research lecture series. This is our second lecture called Powering Comfort and Cost Savings, Rhode Island Voices on Home Weatherization. Last week we had our first session up in Providence in Spanish. Tonight we have our second lecture, and on December 3rd we'll have the third lecture of the series. Today we'll hear from a number of Rhode Island residents who will share their experiences with home weatherization. First, someone who works in the space helping people to improve the quality and comfort of their homes. And then we'll hear from two residents who have gone through the weatherization process to hear about how that process went for them. We'll have some time at the end for questions, so you can hold them then. For those of you who are joining on the live stream, welcome. If you have any questions as we go or any technical difficulties, feel free to add a comment on the YouTube video there, and we'll monitor those on there. Okay, my name is Kevin Drum. I am the coordinator of the Energy Literacy Initiative here at the University of Rhode Island. I work in the Cooperative Extension, which is the part of the university that brings information out to the community. And so the guiding principles of the Cooperative Extension are that we're committed to improving the quality of life, livelihoods, and the health of our natural environment through our work. And we believe in social and environmental justice. We are hoping to, through our work, strengthen and deepen our understanding and proficiency in cross-cultural communication to be able to support Rhode Island residents across the state. We work in a variety of areas. Tonight we're talking about energy, but we also work in land stewardship, food systems and agriculture, water resources, and healthy lifestyles. So, as I mentioned, tonight we're going to hear from a number of residents to talk to us about home weatherization and the importance of weatherizing our homes for our own health and for improving our community. This lecture series is made possible with support from a few sponsors and community partners. First, the Energy Efficiency Council of Rhode Island, which sponsors the series, and then second, Rise Engineering, which is a community partner that does a lot of work in the community, helping people to weatherize their homes. And we actually have a representative from Rise here today who's available to help people to sign up for a home weatherization if that's something that you're interested in doing. Okay. The session, as I mentioned, is being live streamed. It's also being recorded, and so you can visit the URI Cooperative Extension YouTube channel and access tonight's peer lecture as well as last week's, and we'll post the one on December 3rd as well. The recordings will have closed captions in English and Spanish or other languages available so that it's accessible for all. So to start us off, I'd like to introduce Brian Evans. As a program manager at the Green and Healthy Homes Initiative, Brian leads cross-sector initiatives that improve housing conditions and health outcomes for low-income families with a focus on children, older adults, and individuals with disabilities. His work entails breaking the link between unhealthy homes and unhealthy families by coordinating efforts across public health, housing, and energy efficiency. Brian also manages a citywide initiative, a citywide home intervention program that provides asthma education, comprehensive housing assessments, and critical repairs to remediate home health and safety hazards, and serves as the lead facilitator of the Energy Efficiency Equity Working Group for Rhode Island Energy to advance equity in the planning, design, and delivery of its energy efficiency programs. Round of applause, please, for Brian.
Awesome. Hello. Great. So again, my name is Brian Evans. I am the program manager at the Green and Healthy Homes Initiative of Rhode Island out of our province office. For those of you who don't know who GHI is, we are a national nonprofit organization dedicated to working in low-income communities with low-income families to ensure that all families are living in healthy, safe, and energy-efficient housing. So we have offices all across the country with our headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland. But we have offices from Detroit, Michigan, Jackson, Mississippi, Trenton, New Jersey, Providence, Rhode Island, and many more across the nation, and also in Puerto Rico as well. And the reason why I'm here today with Don and Robin is not because I personally went through the weatherization process, but because of the work I do at JHI. I work directly with families every day, helping them identify and address key health and safety hazards in their home. And my job is to really make sure that these families can overcome these issues so they can be safely re-enrolled back into the weatherization program for additional weatherization and energy efficiency upgrades for their home or apartment. And for me, one of the most meaningful parts of my job is I get to see the before and after for all of our clients. So whether I'm doing the assessment or supporting my assessor or being there for the post-quality control inspections after the work is all done, I get to see these families go from a struggling situation with high energy burdens, a plethora of health and safety hazards all throughout the home. And there's usually in these cases a sick child in the home, whether they have asthma or some other type of issue. So it's really meaningful to be able to work with these families to transform their homes and their lives into a much better situation, so they can focus on other things that they've been kind of put to the side. So I won't dive too deep onto all of the programs and services that we provide, but I work across all these domains, from direct service programs ranging from asthma, lead, and healthy homes, and electrification coming on soon, to energy efficiency and equity with the state utility to help improve their Rhode Island Energy's energy efficiency programs and make them more equitable, as well as workforce development and education. So we work across all these domains to ensure that families are educated and that families have access to resources to be able to make those necessary home health repairs. But the one program I did want to specifically call out was our Healthy Providence Healthy Homes program. So this program is built on a simple idea. All families deserve to live in homes that support and not harm their health, safety, and long-term stability. So across Providence, we continue to see households struggling with conditions like mold, pest infestations, asbestos, radon, and the list goes on. And all these issues either impact asthma control or forbid those households from actually entering into the weatherization program, since the weatherization team won't do anything if there's pest or mold or asbestos, because they don't want to disturb that and cause more issues throughout the home. So for our program, we have two key target audiences. Our first one is asthmatic children and adults. As it's pretty obvious, a lot of home health hazards in the home can exacerbate asthma symptoms, so things like mold, pest, radon, asbestos, as well as HVAC issues. So we're able to work with those families to address all those repairs, as well as provide them education to help improve that asthma control. And then our second target audience is working with the local CAP agency who hosts the weatherization programs throughout the state. Specifically, this is the CAP in Providence, where we're looking to, they send us deferred units from their program for whatever reason, whether it's knob and tube, mold, pest. They send those units to us so we can address that deferral reason and then send them back to the weatherization program so they can get those energy efficiency and weatherization upgrades. And one cool thing, we just signed a contract yesterday for a $1.1 million grant through the Office of Energy Resources to expand our program model here, to do more units, but also to add electrification component to that. And if you don't know what electrification means, it essentially means getting households off of fossil fuel appliances, so getting the gas out of their home or oil and replacing it with efficient technologies like heat pump hot water heaters, induction stoves, and heat pumps. So the next couple of slides are just, these are all actual assessment photos from assessments that we have performed. So I'll just quickly kind of just talk through some of these, but we've seen it all. So when we do go into homes to do our assessments, we do every room from the attic to the basement in between, as well as an exterior assessment as well. So we find things like mold. And that first picture is actually the child's bedroom. Yeah, so it's tough, and specifically that kid had asthma, and he's been, he was a 7-year-old, so he's been living like that for the past 7 years and constantly going back to the hospital. So we're able to address things like mold. We see a lot of lead-based paint. Rhode Island has the third oldest housing stock in the nation, with 80% of the homes built before 1978, predating lead laws and any modern day energy codes. So we deal with a lot of lead-based paints and a lot of pest infestations and rodent infestations. And I know in one property we counted 52 rat holes just around the house. Some other things we see is that we see a lot of frayed asbestos. So those fibrous materials get into the air, affecting the indoor air quality, and also getting into the lungs of all the occupants. We see a lot of active knob and tube from our weatherization clients, a lot of boiler and hot water heaters that are damaged or need replacements, numerous trip and fall hazards, foundation leaks, leaks, plumbing issues, more rat holes, more mold, more moisture issues. This was in their kitchen, the ceiling disrepair, and most of their house actually looked like that. A lot of bathroom and kitchen repairs, and again, more mold and moisture issues. So we do deal with a lot of these issues with our profits clients, and it's really rewarding to be able to change like all of the. I don't have any post assessment photos, but all of these houses have changed for the better. It's crazy to see. All these houses in general home disrepair turn into these beautiful households that improve the life of all the members in those homes. And just a couple more things: damaged chimneys, hoarding and clutter, and roof leaks. So the one thing I did want to really focus on for this presentation is what you're missing out on by not weatherizing your home. So first, air sealing and filtration. Without proper air sealing, you're essentially heating and cooling the outdoors. So those heating leaks in your attic, your walls, your ductwork are the reasons why your rooms feel drafty and cold, and why your energy bills stay high. So weatherization aims to close those leaks, so your home stays cool in the summer, warm in the winter, and your money stays inside and not flying through the cracks. I know when I lived here in college, junior and senior year, my home was not weatherized. We were constantly wearing coats in our home, blankets, all of that, just to keep us warm. So I would have appreciated knowing this a couple years ago, 6 years ago. The next thing is insulation. So proper attic, wall, and floor insulation makes every room more comfortable, so you're not freezing in the winter, it's not going to be sweltering in the summer. The next is ventilation. This is a key thing that we do in our program. A lot of the homes, so I think a key example here is bathroom and kitchen exhaust fans. So if you don't turn on your bathroom exhaust fan, you don't put on your kitchen hood when you're cooking, you'll notice that there's a lot of moisture and other pollutants and grease and grime that start to pile up. So a lot of the houses that we go into, they either don't have a proper ventilation system, or they don't have one at all. So that's why we see a lot of mold and moisture issues, and a lot of other issues like lead-based paint, chipping and peeling. And then another thing that the weatherization program also aims to achieve is heating system upgrades. So we know a lot of our clients have gotten help from the CAB agencies to replace their hot water heaters and their boilers. And right now it's actually emergency season for the boilers. So obviously in the wintertime it's very cold in Rhode Island. So the CAB agencies want to make sure that no household is going without heat in the winter. And there's at the end, it's just some energy saving devices and appliances. So from thermostats to dehumidifiers, fridges, ACs, and other water saving devices and aerators. The weatherization, the assessment team was able to provide a lot of good things for you. And before I hand it off to Robin, I just want to quickly highlight one of our clients, Mr. Paul. So Mr. Paul was actually referred to us from the CAB's weatherization program, as he was deferred for excessive clutter and debris and pest infestation all throughout his home. And unfortunately, actually, when I did his assessment actually back in February, we also had to initially defer him too, and to date he is our only deferral, just due to the amount of his home was pretty much in all disrepair. It was a 3-level home, and it was just like the walls were falling apart. There were lead-based paint hazards, and you could see the entire scope that we did for that home. It was probably, I think, to date our biggest job, but we were very happy to be able to actually work with him to get him back into our program after 2 initial deferrals. And we did that with the support of the local nonprofits, St. Elizabeth Community, who really helped front the bill with us, or split the bill with us. So we were able to see the breakdown of the cost of all the 3 organizations that were able to put some funds into this home. But the good thing here is we were able to achieve 2 of Mr. Paul's dreams. One was to clean out the 20 to 30 years of clutter in his throughout all three levels of his home. And one was to get the second one was to get back into the weatherization program, because I remember we assessed his home back in February where he had no heat. I was freezing in his home just doing the assessment. So he was dealing with that for about a year. So now he is much more happier now. His home is weatherized. There's no more hoarding and clutter issues. We addressed all the major health and safety issues in his home, and he's a much happier man. And we actually are looking to do a case study with him, just to do the amount of impact we've been able to achieve. So I think we're probably going to release that sometime early next year. I'll share that with Kevin so you can share that around with everyone who participated in this. But this is just one of the many cases that we have. Right now we have 72 active clients, and we're looking to work with another 100 over the year. And we go for funding every year to keep doing this work. And I believe that is it. So again, feel free to reach out with any questions. You're pretty much your go-to expert for anything healthy homes, energy efficiency and electrification, and just regular support services around all of that. We have a small but mighty team here in Rhode Island with just four here in Rhode Island, but we are looking to grow as a team to do more than just the city of Providence. We want to expand to other areas like Pawtucket, Central Falls, Warwick, West Warwick, and even South County down here. But we need more support and more people. And we're also potentially looking for interns as well. So if you're interested in that, feel free to reach out to me and we can discuss kind of what that would look like. But I think that is it from me. And awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Of course, appreciate it. Thanks so much, Brian. I want to jump back and highlight a couple things that Brian said. So looking at this slide, I think it's, is this the right one? Yep. And so I want to highlight all of these benefits that come from weatherization, and particularly there's several different aspects here that are benefits that would come from weatherizing your home, or thinking about making your home more energy efficient. You may be thinking that one or a few of these apply to you, and that might be an indicator that it's worthwhile to look into weatherizing your home. You don't necessarily need to you may have just gotten a new heating system, for example. That doesn't mean that the rest of the upgrades wouldn't be beneficial to you to reduce your heating bill, improve your health, and help the climate. So I just wanted to make sure that we focus in on the fact that this program is meant for, all Rhode Islanders to improve the health of their homes, and for us to make our community better. The other thing, so Brian mentioned a couple. So first, the Green and Healthy Homes Initiative is a great resource and a great first stop to learn more about these programs if you're interested. I want to also highlight the Community Action Program of Providence, or other CAP agencies across the state. If you want to learn more about these programs and want to figure out, if you qualify or what kind of resources are available, that's another great place to start. Reach out to your local community action program, community action agency, to find out more. We have them in many communities across the state. And lastly, if you're interested in signing up for a home weatherization assessment to learn what kind of upgrades would be applicable for your home, if you go to the Rhode Island Energy website, and you could Google Rhode Island Energy Home Energy Assessment. The web page that's on there, there's different application processes if you're eligible for a discount on your energy bill or if you're not. But all the information is on that page. So just some resources. If you're watching the recorded video on YouTube, you can look below and you'll be able to access those resources there. Okay. So now that we've heard from Brian about some of these connections between weatherization and your health and your home health, and some of the resources that are available, I'd like to introduce, we now have two speakers who are homeowners who have gone through the weatherization process. We're going to hear about their experiences and what it was actually like to go through this process. So first, I'd like to introduce Robin Etchingham. Robin is a homeowner in the city of Warwick and has owned her home since 1981. Robin participated in the energy efficient housing for all community of practice this year as a resident, and followed up by scheduling an in-home energy assessment in August 2025. A round of applause for Robin. Perfect.
Thank you very much. As he said, I'm Robin Etchingham. I live in Warwick. I bought my house about 41 years ago. My house was built in 1939, I believe. So it's one of the older homes in the area. So I live kind of not in Gaspé, not far from Gaspé, kind of near Warwick and Post Road, if anyone knows the area. So my home assessment, the first thing I did was I had gone onto the page and went and I registered. They called me back within a day or so. It was really quick. I got to pick when I would like it done. So I looked at their calendar, what was available. What they will give you is they'll give you a time slot. Either you're going to be morning, you're going to be the afternoon. So it's a big span. It's not like we'll be there at 2 o'clock. I had scheduled it about a couple months out from when I had actually contacted them. Basically because I had a lot going on and I wanted it to be when I had some free time that I could be there and not working. They did call me back several times. So several times I had cancellations and like, hey, we could come out tomorrow. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be here. So they do try to get people in very quickly. In the picture here, you're seeing the energy specialist. That's Matthew. He came out to the house, very friendly, was on time, came more to the earlier part of my scheduled time than later. I had like a 2:30 appointment that day. And he met me at the doorway. They do ask if you have pets. Please keep your pets down. If you have any dogs or anything, they would ask that you put the dog, put it away or whatever. I had my granddaughter's dog there. Tried to gate it, but it got out twice. It was only a little dog, so he was fine with dogs. So the dog just stayed out. I think there's a picture in here where we sat down. Right here, this is towards the end of the visit, where he is now going and looking at the siding. They have to put a small hole and to see if there's any kind of insulation there. Here is we were checking out the thermostats. So on my thermostat on my first floor is already a programmed thermostat, so there was no need to worry about that thermostat. In the second picture there is the tube and wiring, tube and knob wiring, which I had told him that there was none in my house. I was floored when I found it. When we went in the cellar, I knew that there was none in the cellar. I assumed that it wasn't in the rest of the house. My first husband was an electrician. My son's an electrician, so I assumed it was not in my house. So this is one of the barriers that I do have to go further right now, is that all that it would have to be removed in order to have the insulation blown into the house, because it would be a potential cause of a fire. It is a little different to find out you have a barrier. However, I'm glad to find out that the barrier's there, because this way now we can address it. The third picture has to do with in the attic, that there is several areas where there should be more insulation. Um, Currently in my house right now, in my attic, there's only about um, 2 feet of insulation in the flat parts. One of the recommendations that they would be putting like a lot more in there, like 14, you know, in there. Um, I thought it was very thorough. Matthew was very uh, patient, very explained everything very well in a term that I could understand. Um, Here we're on the outside looking at the house. Um, the second picture is more when he first came in and started introducing himself, and we sat down. We were chatting about what would be the, what would he be actually looking for and where. And also, you are allowed to say where you would like them to inspect or not inspect. If there's somewhere you don't want them to inspect, you just say outright, no, I don't want my solar done. I don't want my attic done. Or I don't want a certain room done. But I was very open to have the whole house done. Um, so here are some of the pictures. Once he did the inspection, which did not take all that long, he actually went out to his truck and actually did up my evaluation. And he said, this will take me half hour, 45 minutes. I said, no problem. I'm going to be home anyways. Uh, and so he went and did the invest, wrote up the whole thing, and then came back in and sat with me and went over everything. So for some of the things that they were talking about was about installation. In order to have, first of all, the wiring has to be rewired, but then to blow the insulation in, I have balloon framing, which means that it's open from the top to the bottom. So there's not this stop at the second floor. So insulation would have to go from the top of the building to the bottom of the house. So then they also have to brace so that the insulation isn't going to come out the bottom and into the cellar. So there was a lot of talk about that. On here you can see where they were talking about the damming. That's the damming. So it's to stop the installation. The cost was estimated at $62. The incentive would be $46. And the net cost to me would be $16. That was the estimate. The big thing is about the attic installation, well, insulation being done. Oh, right here it says I have 6 inches of fiberglass wall batting, which is not giving you very much heat. My heat's just going out my attic and out my roof. And so they give you the recommendations. Then again, they give you the cost and what the incentive is and what the savings would be. I also like the whole thing with on their report, they give you what is the payback. So the payback is how many years will it take with the savings to cover the cost of what it cost me. So that's what the payback is. Um, and I would be eligible for a discount. And it depends whether you have oil heat or gas heat. The discounts are different. Um, and then they give you the whole action plan summary here where all the different things and what it would cost. At the same time that I got that report, I also got a lot of other things. I got the enrollment for finance. I got a list of who the providers are that, work for them that you can contact. Um, I have not gone the next step because I have to get the wiring issue done. And now my husband and I are talking about if we are going to be making some changes like that, what other changes do we want to make to the house so that we can age in place and stay in our house? My house has very steep stairs, which has nothing to do with electricity or the energy, but there's different things. If we're going to go further, what can we do to make the house more safe and a healthier place for us to live as we age? Now, I figure I have a while to worry about that, but you never know. Also, going through this, my next step would be to have my father's house done. My father has a newer house, but he's 90 years old living in a house where we have to keep it warmer because it gets so cold. So what else can I do to keep the costs down and to keep him healthy? My house, I can tell you, is drafty. There's a lot of weatherization that can be done. Simple things around weatherization around your door. The door guide on the bottom is snapped off on one of my doors. Things like this. My second floor, I had mentioned, didn't have a programmed thermostat. He actually went out, got the thermostat, and put it in that day. And we programmed that one so it's not heating when no one's up there, really. Keep it a little lower. The program, I think, is wonderful. And it's just, I think, so helpful, but really not known by people in general. I don't think it's very well known by the general population about the advantages of taking it through this program. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Robin. So that is really helpful to hear through your experience. I want to highlight something that Robin said, and if you look up on this page in that table at the bottom, the total cost. So it says 2,376 is the total cost, and the incentive covered or would cover 1,941. So out of a over $2,000 cost to do these upgrades, the total that the homeowner actually would end up paying is just over $400. And so the reason I'm highlighting this is because we haven't really focused in on the fact that there's programs to help you figure out what kind of upgrades you need to do. But in Rhode Island, in our energy bills every month, we pay an energy efficiency programs charge. And so we are already paying, as Rhode Island residents who are using Rhode Island Energy, we are already paying to create a fund that will pay for many of these upgrades for us. So if you are on a discount rate for your electricity, these upgrades will be completely free. So that the net cost would be zero. In this case, not being on a discount rate for the electric bill, you see the discount is really steep anyway. And I think this is the key. First of all, we're already paying for this. So it behooves you to go look into this and have someone come out to your house and tell you what that final cost would be. And then at that point, you can decide, does it make sense for me right now? Do I really want to deal with the someone coming to my house and putting insulation in? But you'll at the end of the day know how much that will cost you and how much that will save you in the long run. So I think it's a no-brainer to take advantage of the program. Like Robin said, find out what you could do in your home, figure out what kind of upgrades make sense for you, and then take advantage where you can. Okay, yeah, sure. One sec, Brian. One sec.
Hello? Awesome. One thing to note too, you can get a free home energy assessment every 3 years. So when you get your home energy report, you don't, like Kevin just said, you don't have to make a decision that weekend. You could take time if you need, to collect the funds, or if you have a pre-weatherization barrier that you need to figure out to pay for as well. You could get an assessment every 3 years. Just wanted to add that.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so our next speaker is Dawn Taylor Church. Dawn is a social worker and a single mom to a teenage daughter. She moved to Rhode Island about 16 years ago and likes 3 of our 4 seasons. Dawn is hopeful that her home weatherization process will make the winters more bearable and affordable for her family and her tenants. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay. Yes, so hi, my name is Dawn. Thanks for the introduction. So I happen to work in the energy sphere, so I came to know the folks with the URI Cooperative Extension and the Energy Fellows through my work. But I also just personally went through the home weatherization process, so I agreed, because of the connections that we had, to share my experience with all of you through this program. So I'm excited to do that. So I am a homeowner. I live down here in South County. I have a 2-family house, and my house was built in 1900, so it's old. And I just went through my weatherization process, so I'm just going to explain to you basically how it went for me. I just went through it, actually, it's been less than a month ago that we completed it. So I'm happy to just explain a little bit about how it went for me personally. I was motivated to do it because I have oil heat. I recently had my boiler replaced about 5 years ago, but unfortunately it's a lemon and it doesn't work very well. So I'm electrification curious. So I'm interested in possibly participating in the Clean Heat Rhode Island program, which is about trying to help people switch from fossil fuels into electric heat and cooling. But the step for participating in that is to get your home properly weatherized first, but because that makes sense. I also had heard that right now for the weatherization program, there are special incentives for landlords to be able to get that work done at no cost at all. And since I am a landlord, that was another reason that I was excited to go ahead with the weatherization. So I started looking into it, and this is how it went for me. I called Rise on the phone, didn't have to leave a message, literally got a hold of somebody, made an appointment for the audits. It was probably within 2 weeks that they had the auditor come out. He was a very nice gentleman. I think his name was Richard. And he didn't mind us following around, chit-chatting about everything that he was doing and his findings and everything as he went along. He brought all his own tools. He brought a ladder to go up into access the attic because it doesn't have a pull-down ladder. He was really super nice about making sure the tenants were, coordinating with me on when they would be ready for him to come upstairs, because it's a 2-family. Like, I have the downstairs and my tenants have the upstairs. So he was really nice coordinating that with me. So one good thing I will say, I'm a landlord, but my tenants are my best friend and her husband. So it was a discussion that we had about all of this in terms of whether this would be a good idea to explore changing our heating and cooling system. It's a big deal, and whether it would be worth it to go through this. One of the things that I needed to do, just FYI, as a landlord, I had to get we have our electric separately metered, but they were both in my name. And I had to get the upstairs switched into my tenant's name so that I could be more officially a landlord to take advantage of the incentives. But anyway, so the auditor came, he looked at everything, like I said, was very personable. And then, like the very next day, I got a very easy to understand report about what his recommendations were it was basically needing additional layers of insulation in the attic. The walls were fine with insulation, he determined. We needed a weather in the crawl space and basement, a vapor barrier, and some insulation on the attic of on the ceiling of the basement to keep it from, make it more insulated as far as the whole building. And, weather stripping around the doors and some simple things. It was very easy to understand. Now, being that my home was built in 1900, they did have to determine, as Robin had mentioned, whether we had knob and tube wiring in the home. So I had to have a barrier sign-off form. So I had to have an electrician come out and determine if there was knob and tube in the home, which I did not believe that there was. But anyway, I had to get an actual electrician to say so. So I found an electrician, through Google, and got that done. And then after that, the person from Rise sent me the actual proposals, and we got they basically gave me a contractor. Like, I didn't have to choose or anything. They assigned a contractor to it, which was All Star Insulation. And the proposals were great because, just kind of like what Robin was showing, it showed how much the work would be and how much the incentive would be. And it was amazingly too good to be true. It said that there was about more than $5,000 worth of work that they were recommending, which would be at no cost to me once you considered all those incentives. So great, right? So then All Star Insulation was the contractor for the work, and they were able to come out and complete the work within about 6 weeks. So like I said, I just got that all done. They did all that work that was on the list about a month ago. So, I guess it remains to be seen whether I'll have cost savings. Hopefully so. But of course, also I'm now one step closer to, if I want to participate in clean heat or, whatever decision that I make about that. So, yeah. That's it. Now, there were some hiccups, but we don't necessarily have to talk about that. I will say that as far as it goes, I have not been billed anything. So I think it seemed too good to be true, but it's true. I have not been billed anything. I did have to pay for the electrician to come out and do the knob and tube sign off, but I got reimbursed for that already. It was quick. So, yeah. So that's great.
Thanks so much, Don. Awesome. Great to hear from all three of you. And I do, to reiterate, Don mentioned that the cost was zero. So if you are, in order to reach tenants across Rhode Island, since as a tenant, you don't own the home, you can't necessarily make the decision to do these upgrades on the home. So there's incentives for landlords to do these upgrades on the homes for free so that we can reach tenants across the state with the benefits of home weatherization. And so if you're a landlord listening, I encourage you to check it out. You can receive up to $10,000 per unit. So if it's a home up to 4 units, then you can also do it for multiple homes so we can reach all the tenants in the state. So there's a few pictures here of Dawn's weatherization, which you'll see look pretty similar to Robin's. But at this point, I'd like to open it up for questions. If people have any questions about the weatherization process, what it was like to have your home weatherized, and I'll kick us off with one. This is particularly for Robin and Dawn. So my question is, you both mentioned having conversations either with family members or, in your case, Dawn, with tenants. And I know that they were, they're your friends, but how did you approach those conversations? If you were convinced that this program was worthwhile, how did you approach the conversations to convince the people you live with or the people living in your home that this was a worthwhile program to take advantage of? I'll bring you on microphone right now. Oh, is it on now?
Hello. Yep.
No, sorry. As far as in my home, I only have a grandchild who is a young adult, and my husband. So basically, I had kind of done everything and made the appointment, and then kind of told them that it was coming, so that there wasn't a lot of conversation. I think the conversation is coming more with the assessment and next steps, because my husband didn't have anything against having the assessment done. It was more now it's just kind of figuring out the steps on getting everything done, because like I said, I kind of have the barrier of the wiring, which in my head I thought was an easy job. So when I called my son, who's an electrician, he's like, "Mom, it's not what you think it is." So I think it's going to be a job that's going to be probably have to be contracted out because he's working full time. But there was no really problem about having it. Big thing was for the granddaughter, just clean up your room.
Um, for, for me, um, so as I mentioned, I have a boiler that's 11 and it's very unreliable. So that serves the whole household, the both both units. So when it fails, which is often, they're cold too, my tenants. So in that sense, we're both kind of motivated to see what we can do. We still are deciding if that means we're going to fix the oil system or if we're going to proceed with trying to figure out something else that's more modern, etc. And figuring out all the work and costs that that would entail. But I guess that I would say is the primary motivator for both of us and why they were willing to go through it all.
Awesome. Thank you. You can keep it over there, and we'll keep sending you questions if that's okay. If anyone in the audience has questions, also if you're watching online, you can put a question in the comments, and we can ask it here. Go for it.
Well, I have a question. I was just wondering what the scheduling process was like and like how long it took, like between phone calls or like with people getting back to you about the audit.
In my case, I had done the request online. I received a call, I believe, the next day or so, and then I had picked the time frame a couple months out, when I knew I was going to have more time available to be around for the scheduling. And like I said, they had called me with quite a few cancellations saying, "Hey, we can come out tomorrow," but I kept my original date. So it was very easy scheduling. I had no problem at all.
For me, like I said, it was so quick, it was instant. I mean, I called Rise on the phone and just when I had to schedule the time. I had previously talked to my tenants to let them know we were going to do this. But once I got the date and time, I checked with them to make sure it was okay with them. But it was. So, and like I said, it was within 2 weeks of my original call. So that part was super easy.
I'll take the next question. So, Robin, you mentioned that you have the non-tube wiring, so you can't really get a lot of the rather invasive upgrades. But was there anything that was offered to you in the immediate moment? And same for you, Don, if there's anything offered to you. And Brian, feel free to chime in with like popular upgrades you see.
So I'm going to be in the process of calling them and figuring out what can be done in the meantime. Because I'm sure there is a couple things that can be done, like the door being weatherized and putting the strip on the bottom. Some of the other things that they were talking about with the gap ceiling around things, I think some of that might have to wait. One thing I forgot to mention is I have no insulation at all in my outer walls. So that's what, when they drilled the hole, what they'll do is they'll drill a small hole, pull out the shingle and pull out the plug, go in there with a flashlight to see like, oh, what's there? I have no insulation at all between my walls. So the quicker I can get things done, the better, really.
I was pretty much able to proceed with everything that was recommended because I just needed to get the sign off that I didn't have knob and tube. I will say though, this was my second go round with weatherization. I got my first round done about 5 years ago, and they were not able to proceed with it because I had mold in the basement, which represented a safety hazard to them proceeding. Um, and at any rate, it was what's considered a barrier. So I will say that we DIY'd that problem in the meantime. We went to Home Depot and rented a fogger machine and de-molded our own basement with wearing hazmat suits, okay? Me and my family did it. And then we placed a dehumidifier in the basement so that it would not, in which the dehumidifier runs constantly to make sure that the mold doesn't grow back. And apparently we did a good enough job because it did not turn up to be a barrier this go round. But the last go round that I had, the first steps of the weatherization, they did offer me some things at the time. At the time, it was through the CAP agency. I was income eligible. And that was unfortunately when my boiler got replaced. And that has not turned out to be such a good thing because my new boiler does not work well. But yeah, that's my weatherization journey.
On a separate note, obviously I was speaking about our Healthy Providence Healthy Homes program where we work with Dinar's team at the CAP of Providence to work with their deferred units. Obviously that's just for the city of Providence, but just for news for everyone, there is a special legislative committee. It's a long name, but it's essentially a group of members that are meeting at the State House to determine how to build a statewide home repair program to do just that, address pre-weatherization deferrals. So Robin could get her knob and tube remediated, replaced. 5 years ago, she got the mower done at her place. So that isn't, there's no guarantees. It is a commission that's seeing what can be done. But me and my CEO did present yesterday to the whole committee. So we look forward to kind of next steps with that. And it is a great opportunity because, like I said, I want to expand just beyond Providence as well. There's so many people down in South County, in northern Rhode Island as well, that are missing because all these funds tend to go to Providence. So hopefully more will come out in the coming months and early next year. But it is something to look forward to and keep an eye on.
One other thing that was mentioned during my assessment was that my water heater is already past its lifetime. It's working fine, but that is probably one of the next things that we will put in is to switch out the water heater before it splits and just floods the cellar.
Brian, I have a question for you. What are some other really common pre-weatherization barriers that you guys see besides knob and tube?
Knob and tube, mold, pest infestations, asbestos, hoarding, clutter. The list goes on. But those are probably the top 5, with knob and tube being 95% of the reasons why homes are deferred. Yeah.
Do you have a question, sir?
I do. A couple. Could you talk a bit more about knob and tube and why that has to be replaced before you can do anything?
Yeah, essentially the kind of what I give to my customers, try not to be too technical. It's an outdated system. It's the reason why we want to replace it or take it out is because it poses a fire hazard. So that's why the weatherization teams won't put insulation around it because they don't want all of that to catch on fire, a potential fire hazard. So that's pretty much the reason why we want to get knob and tube out. It's not like if you do have knob and tube, your house is going to get set on fire. I don't think there's been a case in how many years, but it's just a thing that we want to be preventative about.
Sure. And does it have to be? That would be throughout the house.
It's kind of case by case basis. So we've seen where there's knob and tube in just the attic, knob and tube just the basement, but I've also seen cases where it's knob and tube throughout the entire house. So it's case by case.
Okay. Great. And you've already had the work done, Dawn. Does it feel different? Does the house feel different?
It's kind of hard to say because, like I said, it was just about a month ago that we completed. So I guess maybe this winter we'll see if it does. I think so. Could be just in my head though.
Any other questions? No questions on YouTube? Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Before we give some reminders about the upcoming session, thanks so much, Dawn, Robin, and Brian, for the input tonight. I'll give you another round of applause. I really appreciate participating. I think some key takeaways from the session. First of all, there are programs that we are already paying for as Rhode Island residents that are meant to help us reduce our energy burden, reduce the cost of our electricity, our energy use for our homes, and to improve our health. And so I think a main message is I really hope that you'll go out and take advantage of these programs. If you're having trouble navigating the programs or you run into a barrier of some kind in the process, I encourage you to reach out to local organizations like the Green and Healthy Homes Initiative or your local CAP agency or contact Rise Engineering or the Rhode Island Energy or feel free to contact us at the Cooperative Extension here at URI. And we are all here to help make sure that you can navigate these programs and get your homes weatherized, make your life better, and improve our community. So I hope that you'll take advantage. Another piece, Diana, your phone locked, but you shared this. So, Diana, would you? Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So just wanted to recognize an upcoming initiative. You could find more information online, but Governor McKee and the Secretary of Housing, Deborah Goddard, are launching a new statewide program for home repair. And so the program offers a lot of opportunities for Rhode Island residents to repair their homes, more funding access for people. So if you search for the new statewide home repair program in Rhode Island, you could find more information, see exactly where this money is going and how it could help you to make some of these repairs on your home improve your situation. Thanks, Diana, for pointing that out. So thank you all for attending tonight. Thank you for all of those of you who are watching online. I know a lot of people are home watching us tonight, and thank you for tuning in if you're watching the recording. We have our final lecture of the Plugged into Energy Research Lecture Series coming up on December 3rd at 7 p.m. again in the Higgins Welcome Center at the University of Rhode Island. We'll also be live streaming that lecture. And in that lecture, we'll again be hearing from representatives from different community organizations. It's called Tackling Energy Inequity Through Community Collaboration. And we'll be hearing about the efforts that are going on today in this space, and then what we can look forward to in the future. Thanks everyone for coming. I hope you have a great night.